So I heard you guys want a fakie like this. Well, you're in luck. Today is Tuesday. My name is Alfredo Mancuso, and we're gonna be learning how to fakie. So as is customary, I'm gonna need you guys to fist pump that like button and then drop me one of these in the comments to let me know you guys are here. Now, a lot of you guys at home might be like, yo, Alf, I can fakie, or yes, Alf, I'm actually really good at fakies. But there's always something you can learn. Why not just take maybe 4 or 5 minutes out of your day and see if there's any of these techniques that could maybe help you out. So for starters, what is a fakie? It's a snowboarding and skateboarding term that we've borrowed. But in both of the sports, when you go fakie, you're actually still kind of going sideways. In BMX, when we do go fakie, we're actually going in reverse and everything behind us is blind. So it's a little more scary for those of you guys that are beginner. Now, before going any further, I should explain that I'll be performing the fakie today using a cassette. The little clicking noises you hear are how you can distinguish between a cassette and a free coaster. If you want to go more in depth, check out my video on free coaster versus cassette or the free coaster 101. There will be a lot of helpful hints in there that'll help you distinguish between the two and what might suit your riding better. But most bikes come with a cassette, still the more popular option on bikes in general. In BMX right now, the trend is a free coaster, but overall cassettes outnumber free coasters. Let's get to this how-to. As I do in most of my how-tos, I usually explain the prerequisites to a trick. And this one is one where you don't even really need to know how to bunny hop yet. So for those of you guys who are still getting the hang of things, this trick is going to be right up there with the bunny hop as far as like one of the first few tricks you want to do. And like the bunny hop, it is a staple to riding. I recommend learning it on the cassette first, then taking over the free coaster. But having a dialed fakie will help you with a lot of things. So enough rambling, let's just get to it. One of the best things about this trick is that you don't have to go very far to actually learn it. You can literally go right outside your house and you can learn it on your curb. For those of you guys that are pretty young, make sure you wear your helmets, and if you can have some adult supervision, that'd probably be great. For those of you guys that are a little risque, just watch out for cars. So what we're gonna do is essentially ride up to this curb, place our front tire here, and we're gonna use our momentum to lift the bike forward a little bit, and then we're gonna drop down and try to fakie. Now you're probably gonna wanna need to try this a few times just to get the hang of it, but essentially just go pretty slow. We pin your tire there, push forward, and try and get it up off the ground. So let's do a couple of those. I have brakes, so it's easy to feather, but you don't need them. So right there, I got a little too sideways and it blew the fakie. Approach the curb going pretty slow. Place your front tire on the curb, push forward a little bit, and then try and go backwards. Now your first few times, you're just gonna wanna learn how to form it. So nothing crazy there. It doesn't matter if you really go backwards or not. Just learn the technique of getting your front end on the curb and your back tire up. That was actually a decent one. As you can see, I'm left foot forward, my right foot is back. You wanna make sure your feet are in a parallel position, hit the curb, and then lunge forward. What your feet are gonna be doing, anytime you're learning BMX tricks, you wanna have your cranks level, either left foot forward or right foot forward, but just make sure they're level. And what you're gonna do is your feet are gonna almost like cup the pedal, so you're gonna like twist your ankles forward and try and lift that pedal and bring the bike up. And as you do so, your legs are gonna try and kick your butt a little bit, and with your arms, you're gonna push them out to get into this position. Now let's do a dramatic one so you can see how steep you can get. Hopefully I don't flip over in front of these people. They don't wanna see a bloodbath. Here we go. Oh, that was a steep one, but I didn't do a fakie. So let's let some bystanders go by. Maybe I'll do a fakie manual quick. As you get more and more comfortable with the endo part, just getting on the curb and leaning forward and pushing, trying to fakie. The next step is coming down. So after you get forward, you're gonna wanna kind of spring back a little bit. So forward and then yank back. And now the important part of that is that when you're coming down, you're gonna wanna let your tire touch the ground first. And as you're doing so, yank back. So you're gonna pull off of that curb, try to throw your momentum backwards. And what that'll do is that'll start engaging the fakie. Now, very important, let me show you guys something. If you lift your bike up off the ground and you spin your wheel forward, you'll see that the cranks don't move. Now, if you do it backwards, you'll see that it wants to pull. So I don't want to get into all the inner workings right now. I have that in another video. All it really means is that if you try to go backwards and you're not actually pedaling backwards, then it will not let you go backwards. Your cranks will actually stop you from going backwards. There'll be tension, resistance, and you won't accomplish the fakie. So very important that as soon as you land and you start with the momentum backwards, you're gonna wanna back pedal. So back pedal, back pedal. One of the things that I see that a lot of people do wrong is that they start pedaling way too fast or not fast enough. You gotta find that sweet spot. Since we're learning it on the curb and we're generating the momentum, you won't really have the back pedal all that hard, but you're gonna wanna let it engage a little bit and feel it out. So let's try that. So this one right here is what happens if you do not back pedal and you get the momentum to go backwards. And it won't let you do anything, see? It'll lift up because your feet are fighting the fakie. Without that happening, backwards, now you turn around. As you gain confidence, now you can approach the curb a little faster, endo a little further, and yank back a little harder. And that'll start engaging more of that fakie. You don't want to go too fast into the curb because then you will really flip over the bars. What you really want to do is lift it up a little higher and then yank back. Your goal is to try and get 1 or 1.5 back pedals and try and see how far you can start getting it. Initially, you don't have to worry about the turnaround, just try and get the fakie. So let's do one without really worrying about turning around. That in itself is a topic for a whole other video, but we'll do it today as well. Okay, here we go. And just go fakie, okay? As you can see, there's no shame in putting your foot down. You're just learning to fakie. There's a lot of things in BMX that are counterintuitive. Going faster is scarier, but it does make things easier. The slower you go, the more difficult it is. But if you learn things going slow, then there will be easier, faster. So it all seems kind of counterproductive and like they clash, but let's dissect that. When learning tricks that require balance, if you're going a little faster, you're gonna be fighting momentum less. In order to fakie and keep that balance at this speed, it's gonna be a little harder. But as you start going faster and faster, it'll get easier. But it will also get scarier, and you can also get more seriously hurt when you start adding speed. So do everything at your own pace, at your own level. Some of your friends might learn things quicker. It might take you a little bit longer, but who knows? Maybe because it took you longer, you actually got better at it, and now you can link up tricks with it. Okay, now the moment of truth. Once you can consistently start the back pedal process, the next thing you want to learn is the rollout, or the turnaround, or the cab, whatever you guys want to call it. All you're gonna be doing is as you're going backwards and you're feeling the point where you want to turn around. Now there's 2 schools of thoughts for this. Number 1, learn tricks however they feel comfortable. Number 2, learn tricks the proper way. This I leave to you guys at home. Learn it how you want. If you're left foot forward, like I am, then you're gonna wanna roll out to the right, so clockwise. If you're right foot forward, then you're gonna wanna roll out counterclockwise to the left. If you don't care about that stuff and you just wanna get it dialed however it comes out, then just do it whatever way you feel comfortable. Now, the steps are, as you're going backwards, you're gonna wanna turn the wheel in the opposite direction of the way you're gonna want to half cab. So if you're turning clockwise, you're gonna wanna turn the wheel slightly to the left. And what that does is that it makes it so that you're gonna start coming around to the right. Inversely, if you wanna turn on to the left, you're gonna have to turn the wheel to the right slightly and then turn over to the left. As you're doing this motion, you're gonna wanna also start looking over your shoulder to see where you're gonna half cab. For me, I'm gonna be looking over my right shoulder as I'm turning the wheel to the left to turn around to the right. Now, it's gonna be a lot to take in all at once, so just kind of break it down step by step. So come over to the curb, do your little endo, go fakie, and start turning the wheel. It will naturally make you kind of spin into the direction. If you actually don't do anything, it'll make you turn around, but it won't change your momentum. It'll just make you almost spin around in a full circle. So that is why once we're getting to the halfway point of the turnaround, so at about 90 degrees, you're gonna wanna start leaning in the opposite direction. So when you started turning around, the bars are going to the left. You're gonna wanna start leaning to the right. Your head's gonna go over your shoulder, and then you're gonna want to simultaneously turn the bars slightly to the right, and with your pedal tension, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm telling you guys to learn this on a cassette, with your pedal tension, you can crank a little bit, and that'll stop your momentum from going backwards and help turn you around and pop over. So let me demonstrate that again. Before this UPS truck comes. Endo, fakie, turn, and as you're getting here, I was going a little too slow, so that's why I lost this fakie, but as you're getting to this point, you're gonna wanna start turning the wheel to the right, maybe even lifting it a tiny bit off the ground. With your left foot, which is your lead foot, you're gonna wanna crank down a little bit and turn the bike over. And I didn't beat the UPS man. If you start forming everything properly and you're kind of like falling over because of loss of speed, you're gonna wanna try and get more momentum out of the fakie. And if you can't do this, then it's time to take this trick to another spot. So the embankment technique might drive your neighbors crazy, but if it's your driveway, then it's all good. Essentially just go up to a little driveway, go up to the top point and try and go backwards. Go to the highest point, then kind of yank back, start forming that fakie. Going slow makes this more difficult. We do what we can. Here we go. Yank back, balance. There we go. Another important thing about pedaling backwards is that when you do the back pedal, it actually helps you balance. So when it is something like this that's difficult, it will help you. Damn you, helicopter, get to the chopper. All right, let's try this again before the helicopter got all up in my airspace. Come to the top point, then fakie, 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 and then just try to turn around. Whichever way you can. Keep doing that over and over a million times. This is the Abubuka technique. It's a little more advanced, but if you have brakes, you can basically ride up to something, hop a little, get your tire down, and then fakie. If you want to get a little more advanced, you can do the foot jam technique. But this one's a little more difficult because it requires you catching the pedals, then going fakie. Oh. Also, I do my foot jams the wrong way, so it makes it even more difficult. Once you feel like you've moved on from the curbs and maybe even the embankments, the final way to really dial in your fakies is to do the 180. If you're gonna do it in the street, be very careful for cars, so look both ways. Personally, to me, the 180 technique is the best. You control your speed. Once you get ready, spin the 180. Now you're faking as much as you want. You're ready, turn it around. Some people have been known to sit down. We can try this technique. It's not up my alley. Yeah, no thank you. My knees don't do that. You can sit down if you want to. You have to have a higher seat post. But for me, just a nice 180. Get nice and low. Center, center, center. When you're ready, turn around. More often than not, the problem is speed, followed by fear. And they don't necessarily go in that order. Some people just don't like going backwards. They're afraid of it. So what you can do to counter, just make sure you are very aware of your surroundings. Look around, make sure nothing's too close to you, like these cars. You don't want to do that if you're a novice. You want to do it somewhere super empty, like a parking lot or a basketball court at a school, something like that. So once you're going backwards, start looking over your shoulder to see if there's anything around. That helps. Then as you start going faster, people are again afraid of going backwards and feeling like they're going to engage and flip over and hit their head. That is something that can happen. You got to wear your helmet. You'll notice that once you have the technique pretty fundamentally sound, going backwards a little faster won't be all that challenging. It'll actually be easier. A lot of people don't know when to turn around. Well, when you feel like you're going to lose it, that's when you turn around. Or when you have your feet in the right position, then you can turn around, do it that way. So for me, it's a combination. As I feel that I'm starting to lose the fakie, I kind of start leaning, turn the wheels a little bit to the left, and then just yank around. The last technique here is essentially just the actual cab, and this is where you kind of like bunny hop out of it. We'll do a short fakie, and as you can see, 180, backwards, and then hop. That is for when you're getting way more advanced at this. For now, you want to just dial in the regular fakie, but if you really want to learn it, it's all about the compression. So when you're doing the fakie, you want to get low, and then turn around, pop, goes the weasel. Compression means that you're getting really low, and you're essentially using your legs like little springs. You're gonna squat down. When you're ready to turn around, you're gonna lunge and pop up, and hop and tuck, and make it look dialed. So there you have it. How to fakie and turn around. I gave you 2 for 1 because originally this was just how to fakie, how to go backwards. I didn't tell you I was going to show you guys how to turn around, but I just threw that in there. If you're struggling with this, I have another video called how to half cab, how to full cab, so take a look at those. And if you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But don't forget to leave me a like and a comment, one of these, one of these, one of these, whatever you're feeling. So let me know you're out there. Again, my name is Alfredo Mancuso. This has been How to Tuesday. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.